Welcome to the deep dive today. Let's talk about Jerome Robbins. His work, from Fancy Free to West Side Story, is like a whole legacy of American dance that reshaped the narrative of ballet.
Right. His energy and audacity really revolutionized the scene. What makes Fancy Free such a pivotal moment for you?
Well, Fancy Free in 1944 was groundbreaking because it merged classical technique with the raw, everyday movements of New York streets. It's like you had these sailors on shore leave, just living out life with humor and grit, and that really set the stage for something bigger.
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't just about elegant movements, it was about storytelling through the body, wasn't it?
Absolutely, because at that time, America was in the midst of World War II, and the ballet, the performance, felt like a mirror of society. It was, brassy and restless, showing that you didn't have to be all delicate in a tutu to tell a compelling story. It was as if Robbins was saying, dance is for everyone.
And that idea, where dance becomes a form of everyday expression, actually carries on in his later works like West Side Story. How do you see that transition happening?
It's fascinating because with West Side Story, Robbins took that idea of movement as narrative and amplified it. Dancers became characters whose movements, slicing, snapping the air, told stories of urban conflict and social tension.
Exactly.
Each step was like a word in a conversation.
Speaking of conversation, what about his signature method of creating an American ballet language? How did he pull that off?
That's where his blend of everyday gestures and jazz syncopation comes into play. Think about it. He took normal pedestrian movements, shoulder shrugs, casual glances, and laid them into the choreography with almost a musical precision that was totally fresh.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like his dance was speaking a language that anyone could understand because it was rooted in common life.
Right. And that everyday language is why his works constantly feel so grounded, yet also innovative. What about his use of space? I mean, he really made those everyday settings work in a ballet.
Exactly. He loved using real, relatable spaces, parks, rehearsal rooms, sidewalks. By doing that, he ensured that the dance wasn't just about posture, it was about living in those moments. It's
True.
like if you're watching Glass Piece, you feel the pulse of New York in every deliberate movement.
And speaking of glass pieces, his work ranges so widely, from intimate moments in Afternoon of a Faun to the comic storytelling of The Concert. How do you think these different scales of work still resonate today?
Well, each piece has its own flavor. Afternoon of a Faun captures that intimate, almost vulnerable conversation between two dancers, inviting the audience to really look inward. And then you have The Concert, which, with its humor and slapstick, shows that even high art can be delightfully funny.
Yep,
it's a
I can see
range
that.
even today, challenges companies to work on different strengths.
On that note, what do you think about his influence on rehearsal culture and training? I mean, his standard was ruthless at times, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Robbins was infamous for his exacting style. His rehearsals demanded razor-sharp musicality and emotional clarity. Every movement had to speak its part in the story. It wasn't cruelty, it was discipline.
Exactly.
Yet, it's also sparked criticism about whether such intensity is always the best way to nurture creativity.
I sometimes wonder, isn't there a risk that such strict precision might suppress creative exploration?
That's a valid point. While the precision ensures a performance packs a powerful punch, it might also stifle the dancer's personal interpretation. But for Robbins, the goal was always clear. Every gesture, every count, had to support the narrative and emotional truth.
Yep, that makes
balancing
sense.
discipline with freedom.
And then there's the elephant in the room, the 1953 testimony before the House Un-American Activities Committee. How do you think that affected his legacy?
Oh, that's the most complicated layer. His testimony did real harm to colleagues, and it left a moral stain.
Right, absolutely.
It's like you can't separate the art from the artist entirely, and his actions in that context shadowed his work for many years.
Yet, interestingly, his artistic output didn't collapse after that. West Side Story still burst onto the scene a few years later. It's a real case of, dual legacies. Artistic brilliance intertwined with ethical controversy.
Exactly. And that, to me, is the deep lesson. While his choreography redefined American dance, his personal choices show us that brilliance can coexist with, serious shortcomings. The way his works are presented now often involves framing them with historical context and honest program notes.
I agree.
It prompts ongoing conversations about artistic integrity and responsibility.
So, if we were to recap, what are the major takeaways from Robbins' legacy that we should carry forward?
All right, first off, Fancy Free broke the mold by showing that ballet could be raw and grounded in everyday life. Second, he developed a dance language that's unmistakably American, full of real gestures and jazz rhythms. Then, his signature works, whether intimate, comic, or urban, each trained a specific aspect.
Exactly.
And finally, his influence on rehearsal culture and his controversial political testimony remind us that art and ethics are inseparable debates.
That's a solid summary, and it really pushes us to consider, how do we honor talented, transformative art while also critiquing its darker chapters? It's a challenge for the dance community and for us as audience members.
Absolutely. It means programming with context, like pairing a Robbins piece with pre-show talks, discussion, or even commentary that digs into the historical complexities behind the art. It's about celebrating the craft, yet not shying away from the conversation about ethics in art.
Yes. And don't forget, his approach still influences training today. Dancers are encouraged to count like a drummer, act like a film actor, and move like they belong to a real, breathing city. That mantra is something that continues to give his work its punch, even now.
For sure. It's like his choreography isn't just performance art. It's a training manual in presence, timing, and, living truthfully on stage. This insistence on intention, every glance, every movement, sparked a revolution.
Yes, indeed. His legacy forces us to ask a bigger question. What do we do with our gifts and our choices when the spotlight's on? In art, that tension between brilliance and moral accountability is a timeless conversation.
Exactly. A provocative dialogue that extends far beyond dance, touching on what it means to be an artist in society. And as companies and performers take on his works today, ensuring that rigorous training goes hand in hand with a mindful presentation is key.
Right, absolutely. And it reminds us, every performance is layered. There's technical mastery, emotional resonance, and yes, historical baggage. The challenge is embracing all of it honestly.
Well said. Whether you're in the rehearsal room or in the audience, it's about engaging with the full story of the art, both its luminous innovations and its complicated past.
Yeah, I completely agree. So if someone asks us about Jerome Robbins today, we can say he revolutionized American ballet, bridged classical and contemporary by grounding movement in everyday reality, and left us with a legacy that's as inspiring as it is complicated.
Exactly, and that's what makes his work so enduring. Even the controversies only add layers to how we interpret his innovations. It challenges us to look at art as both beautiful critique and creative vigor.
Right on. And that's the kind of rich narrative the dance community needs. One that's unapologetic about its brilliance and equally unafraid of its flaws.
Absolutely. Every performance becomes a conversation about art, history, and ethics rolled into one. And that's, what makes exploring Robbins' legacy so compelling.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for this engaging chat. It really shows how deep dance, like any art form, can be when you dig into its history and context.
For sure. And as we wrap up, let's keep that dialogue alive. In rehearsals, classrooms, or your next post-show debate. Embrace the complexity and never settle for surface glitter without substance.
Right, absolutely. Until next time, stay curious, keep questioning, and let every step tell its story, no matter how intricate it might be.
Thanks for listening, and here's to always dancing thoughtfully through life's many layers.